PTF and JK back with another Kentucky Derby prep race video. The Rebel Stakes is coming up this weekend, and we've got one of our top contenders for the Run for the Roses competing. Let's start off with our comment contest from the last video. You see it right up there on the screen. Thank you so much to Cobra Khan for contributing to the conversation. If you want to contribute to the conversation in the comments of this video, maybe by giving us an exacta in the Rebel, we'll feature your comment in the next video. Let's get right to this race, JK. And we're going to start off talking about the key prep race for this race. It was won by Mystic Dan. It was probably won with the aid of a bias. We're going to get a line on the form. We've got about 4 runners from that race coming back here. How does the bias from the previous prep affect the way you're looking at the Rebel?
Well, you got to make a decision if you believe that the inside was the place to be. If you do believe that the inside was the place to be on Southwest Day, then there is a couple of horses in here that I think you need to probably elevate. Look at with rose-colored glasses. The one, Carbone, drawn towards the inside. Took a lot of money that day, was wide around there. If the rail was good, this horse was on the wrong part of the racetrack. The 6, Dymatic, a horse that ran not in the Southwest, but on the same day. Another one that started on the rail, but then ended up getting off of the rail when all the running of the race was happening. Another one that you could potentially upgrade a little bit. And then the 11, Just Steel, who's likely to be the first or second choice in here. Let's see what they do with Timberlake. Another one was against the bias if you believe there was a bias. Now, you could be one of the folks that doesn't believe that there was a bias. If that's the case, I think the market's going to probably reflect these 3 horses kind of getting upgraded. I think you could maybe take a step back away from them and try to beat them.
Let's talk about the flow of that race as well. Just Steel, the only one of the horses that was anywhere close to the front early, who was anywhere. The top 3 horses early, including Carbone, who you mentioned, ended up being far back in the field, suggesting that maybe it was a race flow that favored runners coming off the pace. That was what the story was with the pace in the Southwest. How do you see the pace playing out here?
I think this pace is going to be fast for 2 specific reasons. One, Carbone drawn on the inside, a horse that has typically done well running towards the front end. I can't imagine Steve Asmussen's instructions are going to be to take back and eat a bunch of dirt. I feel like they'll probably send away from the inside. But the problem with that is drawn to the far outside. The 13, Time for Truth, a first-time 2-turn horse stretching out with big speed, is also going to send from the outside, not wanting to get hooked wide and wanting to try to clear. I think this pace will be pretty honest, which I think probably doesn't play in the favor of horses like Carbone and the 13, Time for Truth.
I wonder what kind of a trip Just Steel is going to get this time. You know, he'll be forward, could be in the garden spot, but the horse we really want to talk about when it comes to this race, based on all our previous Derby conversations now, is Timberlake. Are we going to Timberlake or not Timberlake in this year's Rebel Stakes?
I mean, I think a lot has to do with the price, right? And I think that a horse like Just Steel should take some money off of that performance. But Timberlake's got that name recognition, right? Was the 3rd choice in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, won the Champagne, Brad Cox. There's a lot pointing in the direction of Timberlake. I believe Timberlake is pretty darn good. I do understand there's a lot of things that you have to try to work through the time off, but Brad Cox is not one of those guys that I necessarily worry about having a horse ready to run. But the question you have to answer when it comes to this race is to Timberlake or not to Timberlake. I am going to Timberlake. I'm not going to do it in a crazy way, but I'm going to pick this horse. I am going to build the multi-race plays around Timberlake that he's going to run well. And I'm going to save a little bit with horses like Carbone and Just Steel, horses that I believe were against the track last time. Those are the 2 horses I'll probably save with as B types. But I'll be ice cold to Timberlake and hope that he shows up and is who we thought he was prior to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
We'll see how it plays out. For a lot more Kentucky Derby content, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, check out our podcast, check out our website, inthemoneypodcast.com. We'll be back the next time.